Yeah, as you can see, we are sponsored to have a roundtable today. Big shout out to Square Enix for holding this and for inviting us. Thank you so much. Honored to be here. We are just going to be discussing upcoming Rebirth. That's, wow, about 2 weeks away, huh? It sure is approaching.
Yeah.
So,
gosh.
I think we're all going to go around, introduce ourselves, and talk about what got us into Final Fantasy VII in the first place.
Yeah, I can start us off. We go around. Okay. So, hi. Well, all of you in my chat know me. I'm Frankie. And I...
Oh, nice to meet you, Frankie.
It's nice to meet you too. It's nice to meet all of you. Hi.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, I stream and I make YouTube content. I'm also a voice actor. And the way I got into Final Fantasy VII was I played the OG, and I streamed it, actually, for the first time ever. Like, gosh, it would be nearly 3 years ago now. Nearly 3 or 4. I'm not sure. But I got into it after my chat. You guys encouraged me to pick it up after playing Final Fantasy 13. Because I hadn't played any other Final Fantasy other than 13 at that point in my life.
And you love 13,
and I love 13. 13 is one of my favorite games. So, I went into it and I didn't know what to expect. And since then, after playing OG 7, it was at the time when the remake had also come out. So people were like, well, if you liked 7, you can play the remake too. So I had an awful lot to explore
just in time.
there. Yeah, just in time. So yeah, that's how I got into 7 through 13. That's me.
I still have to play that one.
Yeah.
One day.
Me too.
All of you did it, please play it.
Shout out to 13.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I'm not very good at
Hi,
introductions. Hi.
You're doing great.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm Hannah. Final Fantasy VII Remake was actually my first Final Fantasy ever, which was kind of cool. I knew Cloud's name because of YouTube GMVs and AMVs, and that was kind of all I knew going into it. But it was
so on brand.
very, honestly. But actually, it was cool. One of my mods convinced me to play the demo, and then I loved it, and I was like, that was so cool, that was so fun. And then that same mod was like, okay, here, buy it. Here's money for you to purchase it for your birthday right now. And I was like, okay. And then I played it, and then ever since then, it changed my life and changed the direction of my content as a streamer and everything. And now JRPGs and Final Fantasy, wow. And it was the first game that ever made me cry. That was pretty impressive. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
It's nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to meet you, Hannah.
Nice to meet you, guy. Wow.
Well, hello, I'm Finny, and
Hi, Finny.
hey, I'm a little bit of a.
Oh,
Oh.
you didn't show us this behind
Oh,
the
sorry, excuse me. I'm a little
Wow.
bit of a Final Fantasy fan. Well, Final Fantasy VII is actually one of my first video games ever. I actually started with 7 years ago when I was a kid, the OG. And I started by watching my older sibling play it, because I wasn't really allowed to play it at the time. And just by watching it, I was so captivated. I've never seen a JRPG before.
Yeah.
And just seeing all the characters, all the individual personalities, the story, the music, everything. I was just, from then on, a nerd, and there was just no stopping. And I kept up with Final Fantasy ever since. And 7 especially is very important to me. It's my favorite. I've kept up with all of the compilation. I've read books and all that stuff. So yeah, that's where I started. I started with the OG many years ago.
Long time ago.
Yes.
That's so awesome. I knew that it was one of your first, but I wasn't sure how early.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Oh. Well, hi. My name is Lee XP.
Hi, Lee XP.
Hi, Lee.
Hi. Oh geez, I really relate to Frankie in the fact that it was one of my first, and also Hannah, one of my first RPGs that I ever streamed. It was one of the first story-based games. Technically, my first was Final Fantasy VIII. And that was maybe the second game I ever streamed. It was very early on. I didn't know what I was doing, and loved streaming 8 so much that I went right into 7. And that was right before Remake came out. It was on the horizon, so I wanted to get that under my belt before I played Remake. And I loved the original. I remember being a little biased going into it because growing up, I was a huge fan of 10. 10 was like my bread and butter. That was my introduction to turn-based RPGs in general, and pre-rendered cutscenes. I was blown away by Titus and Yuna and how realistic they looked. They were just so beautiful, and the music. So 10 was my big Final Fantasy 13 equivalent. And so going into 7, I was like, oh, they're so small. They look like Legos. I don't know if I could get into this. I don't know. But as soon as the story got going and, you get into the combat and the music and the overworld, I was blown away. And that was my biggest, at that time, streaming, what's the word? Hurdle? Because I went through 7 and then Remake and then Crisis Core. I did all of it. Hurdle's not the appropriate word, but undertaking. And I was obsessed. So I get it. 7's just that magical. So do we want to get into, I don't know, maybe going from being an older fan of the series like Finny and then going into Rebirth now and Remake and how that transition may go a little bit. How seamless is that and how different is the experience?
Yeah. I can start us off if you want.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So like my introduction to 7 was very obviously I got introduced to it on stream, so it was very much something like my exposure to what Final Fantasy really was only to really what 13 had ever shown me. So the idea that the series could explore so many different worlds and the capabilities of the storylines because of that was very beyond my imagination when I first picked up that game, because I remember playing it and it being a total like visual shift to me, because it was like all the cutscenes and how gorgeous like the world of 13 looked to me, and this is what I grew up with as a kid. Like I remember picking that game up when I was 10, 11 years old. That was my game that I associate the series with. And to go from that,
I get that,
to playing the OG and realizing this is what a lot of people started their journeys with as well. Like this game. And
7 was the big one.
Yeah, it's the big one, and it's like what a lot of people that were watching my streams at the time, that's where they started. And they were like, oh, we want you to play this. We want to see how it is with like different generations picking up this game for the first time.
Yeah. I remember people in my chat saying the same stuff.
Yeah, that's why I'm really grateful that I did play it with the company of other people that had started it as their first game. Like I shared my first game with people on stream because I was just like, it's a really special thing. And to see that the legacy of 7 carry on through like Rebirth, Remake, and Crisis Core, all the new installments of the franchise that we've gotten in the past couple of years, it's a testament to how like globally enjoyed this game is. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, or like
it goes
how
through generations.
Yeah,
it's generational at this point.
Yeah, it is a generational game that is made. I think what we've seen from the trailers of Rebirth and what people have been saying about it, it's really plays to everyone rather than like you're a newcomer to the series or you have been playing since like 97. It's it can draw you in for so many different reasons. And I don't know if I've gone on a tangent from what was asked.
No, but that's what we do. We just sit here and we rap about things as streamers, so you're fine. Yeah,
because people in my chat saying like 7 was my first, and it probably is different for all of us. And 7 was so special because it's what showed me the capabilities of the series and how I can really lose myself in not just one world, but another completely different one as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, also it's narrative. I mean,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII tackles a lot of issues that
yes.
are still very relevant to
yeah,
today,
definitely.
as they were back in '97.
Yeah.
So I think that adds a lot to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely
And then,
does.
Vinny, you started.
Yeah.
when you were young. Do
I
you have
started with 7. I was going to chime in with what you just said. You know, I started with 7 and it meant a lot to me. And then I played them as they went, all the Final Fantasies that came out. But I kept gravitating back towards 7. You talked about the narrative. And I think what's so special about 7, and, you know, love it or hate it, it's very beloved by the gaming community as a whole. I think it's just the overall narrative of what 7 offers. I think it's a very, well, for me, I can only speak for myself. It's a very familiar
Please speak from your perspective.
setting. Very familiar, as in, you know, we can all relate to the themes that this game offers, like life and death, environmentalism, and, you know, government issues. Just, we have all these different things that this game has, and even the visuals, like, it's not overly high fantasy, and so you can see bits of, you know, where you grew up, you can kind of see bits of that in the game, for me at least. So when I grew up, it's like I was
beginnings.
yeah, and I was like, wow, this, you know, it's like being, it's like, you know, Earth, but with a little bit of magic in it. So it's very relatable. That's why I always go back to it, because it's just a very familiar setting, and the themes are familiar. All the characters are so different that you can find someone you gravitate towards or relate to. And yeah, I just,
Covers a lot.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, Remake was my first Final Fantasy. So it was definitely a very interesting, but such a good one to start with, because like the streaming it was such a big part of it for me, because it was all these people who had played the original, and like the original was so popular that I literally knew Cloud's name from AMVs on YouTube. Like I was so aware of like who he was, but like not all of his backstory and everything. But so playing it with people being able to like chime in with like their original stuff, and seeing how things have been expanded upon so much, and especially the world. I just remember it was the first game where I remember it so distinctly. I finished the game and I finished stream that day, and then I just was like lying in bed, and I was just like, I miss Midgard. Like I miss just like walking through the streets, and I miss like the people talking, and I miss like, oh, I just missed it all so much. Like it was just such a beautiful world. And I like literally had this save file in chapter 9, which had my favorite music playing, which is Midnight Rendezvous. And I just opened up that save file, and I was just like,
Oh,
yeah,
I love that.
A good one. That's my favorite chapter.
Yeah, and
So good.
and then going back and playing 7 afterwards, because I was like so obsessed. I was like, I need to know this like actual story, and I need to know everything.
Yeah.
It's
How was that experience?
wild. It was so different, because so like one of my favorite characters in Remake is Jessie. Like I love and adore her, and the fact that she has like only little bits in the OG and Biggs and Wedge, they only have little sprinklings here and there, and that was just expanded upon so much, to the point where these characters who had like little bits and pieces were like making me cry. I was just so obsessed with them. I was just like, these are my favorite characters in Remake. And just like how tremendously they expanded on those characters and made the world so living and breathing, and just wanting to sit in it and just be there, present in that world, is just amazing. It's so cool.
So interesting to hear it from the opposite side, because we have
is.
very
The
opposite
Yeah.
relations to this game. It's weird because I vice versa. Oh my God. I've always wanted, and I know a lot of us always wanted 7 remade. And I just remember when it was first announced, I I was sitting in a chair originally, but then I just ended up on my bed and I rolled myself into a burrito with my blankets. I was like overjoyed. And, you know, growing up, I would just imagine all these characters and locations and everything. Like, what is this going to look like in HD? What if we learned more about Jesse? What this, what that? So, oh my God, to get the remake, it was just jaw drop the whole time. It's it's just everything I ever wanted and more.
Oh no, is that your like overlay thing?
Oh no.
Thank you for this
Thank you.
and
Welcome back.
Thank you for that wasn't Lee's stream.
My bad. Okay,
I think they said because they're a fan.
You're good. I even had that pulled up, and I didn't.
That's okay.
Don't apologize. You're good, Alley Cat. Okay, sorry. Continue. Your burrito blanket.
My burrito blanket. Yeah, I was so excited. I rolled myself into a burrito blanket and I was screaming, and people thought I was in danger, but I was okay. It's just a dream come true. Like, I remember I used to have the webpage open for Advent Children growing up because I like the Promised Land song, and I would just listen to it because the website would play it. I would just have it open. I remember playing like Dirge Cerberus and being so ecstatic about the HD-ness of that game. And of course, now you look at that, and it's like, okay, Penny, that's not really that HD. But at the time it was, and it was like everything. I'm like, oh my God, look at this character. He has like proper limbs and legs and fingers. And
That just blew my mind. Because I was like, these are Lego people. Yeah.
That was such a huge part of Remake, is being able to see these characters like with their full, like every time in the opening cinematic, when it zooms into Aerith's face, every time I'm just in awe of how beautiful. Oh my God. It's just wow.
Yeah.
the expressions you always thought were there.
Yeah.
You can actually see them. They're real.
I felt like, because OG7 was so fresh for me at the time when I played it, because I think I played 7 at the beginning of like 1 year, and then I ended the year by playing Remake, because I was like, I want some time in between to experience more of Final Fantasy and like the different storylines. And then I went back to 7, and it was like, that's when I kind of started to feel like the word nostalgia. Like, it's not limited to like how long it has been since you played something, because I was like, you can be nostalgic about something that you played last week, right? And going into like a new game, and I felt exactly like that with 7, because there were certain parts that happened in the OG and it still felt so like suddenly felt so fresh in my mind when I picked up the remake, because I was like, oh wow, like it's I knew through their words, like, because you just, one of the fun things about the OG for me was like voicing all the characters, and they didn't have any voices in like for me in my head. Like, I knew what they sound like in my head, but it didn't sound right when it came out my mouth. Like, you know, like it didn't sound like. So having the remake have like,
they all got new voice actors too.
Absolutely stunning voice acting. Like the emotional beats those voice actors hit in the remake, and I know they will definitely hit them in Rebirth, is amazing. The things that they managed to well up inside me from just the playing on that nostalgia that I was feeling, and really making the moment so beautiful, regardless of what was happening, if it was sad, if it was happy. It's something that like it was really special, and I hadn't experienced something like that from anything else in the series yet, because it was 7 and then remake. It was experiencing the same thing, but I almost like see it like painting a bowl of fruit. So bear with me with this analogy.
So I'm right there with you.
So
hang it on.
You've got, when I was playing the OG, I was looking at it from one angle, and when I played the remake, I was like on the other side. I was painting the exact same thing, but I was just seeing it from a different perspective. And it was that knowledge of knowing that this is where it's come from, and this is also the the potential that it could possibly be as well, like the things that I would have never realized before just from looking at it from another perspective, or seeing the things that are added in there, like, oh, there's a grape there, I didn't see that in the OG, you know, like I didn't.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was for me, because I went right from OG7 into Remake. So I had this one-to-one comparison going on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I still remember going into Aerith's house for the first time.
Yeah.
Remake. And then just seeing how much was added, all the details, all the love that went into it. And it brought me to tears. That was one of the first times I was really emotional while playing Remake. Because, wow, I just played this and it was not drawn out like this, because it couldn't be. It was limited with the technology and the console that it was on. So it's really remarkable to see how far gaming has come, and then to readapt an entire story and world and make it so different. It's not a normal remake. It's not a normal remaster. It's a whole spin on the narrative, which I think draws in a whole new crowd too. The appeal of a new story, and also for old fans, because they want to see what changed. I know with Finny, like, you know original, so going into Remake and subsequently Rebirth, you're gonna see all those changes and know.
Yeah, and that's what's really cool about this remake project, that it doesn't matter if you're an OG fan or if you're a new fan. There is something for everyone. There's something new for everyone, which at first, and I don't have to go into it, or we can, at first I was on the fence about, and it took time for me to realize, like, wow, this is really special. They took the time to give us something brand new for us OG fans to just hype about, theorize about, think about, cry about.
Theorizing, that's a big one. Yeah. Because there's a whole fandom just for theorizing.
They did a really good job. There's a new theory every week, basically, if you want. It's out there. It's out there.
Just like theories, you know, that blew up too. And I remember that with Final Fantasy 15. There was a bunch of theories and drawing conclusions with myth and things, and you could definitely do that with 7.
But it's really cool seeing the fandom come together and like theorize and comment together and make things up. I think that's really special about the fandom.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy's fandom in general is very much that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're very passionate.
Yeah.
I have a question for, well, the rest of you who went OG Remake, because to me it was so cool and so wild. Because I did Remake OG, and then I remember when you get to what the end of Remake is in OG, I think I was like 2 hours into the game, or like, just like, it's so early on. And I was just sat in shock being like, they expanded like this into a whole game. Like, that's a huge number of hours. So was it really, I don't know how to phrase the question, was it really cool, like, being like, wow, we're still here, and like in the OG we were so much further along by this point? Or
I think when I played the OG, because obviously I'd never touched the game before, where the remake ended, when in the part where I was playing in the OG, I thought the game had actually ended in OG.
Really?
So and I think that's like the feeling that I had back then for what Rebirth is about to be. Is that exact same feeling, if I'm wording this correctly, because it's almost like
I get it.
My horizons are suddenly expanding, and this game is a lot larger than life and bigger than I thought it would be. Because
that's how Rebirth is setting up to be.
Yeah,
that's that exact so big.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that that's what Remake did for me, because I was reliving beat for beat a lot of the OG, and at the same time I was filled with so many questions. And I love when games do that, because it's it might be for some people that change is quite scary or is intimidating. It can compromise a lot of things that you enjoy, but at the same time I'm glad that, from my perspective, playing something that challenges my comfort zone, or the unexpected is always like a welcomed, not discomfort, but there's another word for it. It's like a challenge or something like that. Like it, and I'm really trusting where they're going with this, simply because I'm reliving that those questions and that shock almost that I had in the OG. That feeling, like sitting in that and trusting that feeling.
Well, that's the
I
thing.
didn't
The
regret
original's
it.
always going to be there.
Yeah.
And so you can go into this with fresh eyes and knowing that the story of what was in the OG is still there in 1997.
Yeah.
And it's very accessible even now, which is great. And then you get to re-experience it with all these modern takes and the combat as well. The combat's so fun.
Oh, it's so good.
And then also getting to theorize about what's going on with the story, what's new.
Yeah.
And then Rebirth, gosh, there's going to be so much. So the fact that Remake spent so much time on Midgar and honing in on all the small details of Midgar and expanding that, it's like almost overwhelming to think about how big Rebirth's going to be.
Right.
I could cry thinking about it. I'm very nervous in a good way because it's as an OG gamer, and I've always wanted to see all these like characters and like the Junon in HD, the characters within Junon in HD. What does Cosmo Canyon look like? I've only ever pictured it in my mind, and I can't even it's hard to even form words. It's like Christmas morning. That's what it feels like. It feels like Christmas morning.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I am currently replaying Remake, ready for Rebirth.
I need to do
and
Should play hard mode.
like, yeah, I'm not quite there yet, but maybe one day.
It's really fun.
But it's so interesting because I'm also a different gamer than when I was when I first played it. So like,
I know who I used to be.
yeah, I've changed. And now I'm doing all of the side quests because I got everyone the worst dress. I was very overcome with the main story. I was very. It was anyway. But now I'm doing. Now I'm doing all of the main, all of the side quests. Sorry, and it's one of my favorite things now about Remake that I hadn't like fully taken in the first time around was how like when you do all of the like odd jobs, as you're walking around, people will be like, "Oh, hey, thanks for doing that," and like, "Hey, oh, it's that guy who did that," and like just that in Rebirth on a bigger scale with like bigger things and like more going on, and I'm just like, the fact that you feel like you're having such an impact through Cloud on the world around you is just so cool, and I just think it's so. It like ties everything together about how like we're fighting our own personal battles in the game, but also for the people and like helping the world itself. Yeah, and then the world is interacting with you. Like you're one. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, seeing your direct impact on an environment around you is one of my favorite things about gaming. All my favorite games have elements of that, I want to say. So I'm very excited to see how it's all tied together in Rebirth. And also, there's a bunch of new characters coming in Rebirth. Or a few.
Whoa, sorry about that. Got a little excited.
There's a couple, at least.
Some of us are very excited about it.
I've been thinking that in. Anyway, I'm sorry. Don't let me interrupt.
No, that's fine. I mean, God, we got an hour 20 minutes. You feel free.
It's a great place for you to take.
Listen, speaking of characters, can we?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about characters?
Yeah.
I'm
sure.
There's no schedule. I have a loose notepad going on, but it's okay.
We can return to the notepad.
Wherever our hearts lead us, you know.
Sure, no problem. So I'm actually really looking forward to.
You're like Finny. Sorry, go ahead. Okay. We all know we're missing some party members. She's holding.
No, I'm so sorry. I'll put him down. I keep it together. Okay, focus. Okay.
So, just think about all of your passion for St. Highway right now in this moment. It's all been building up to this. Your whole career.
My whole career. So let's focus on, I guess, the two. Well, I guess you can count Yuffie as well if you didn't play the DLC. We're getting a bunch of new playable. Well, let's clarify. We know Sid and Vincent. They're more along the lines of Red 13. How he was in Remake, but they're going to be in the game.
Yep.
I'm very excited.
Gonna see them in HD and of course.
Yep.
and their pores. It's. I know, it's crazy. They have pores.
And Sephiroth has nose hairs, and I have tweeted about it on multiple occasions, probably. And he has nose hairs. Sorry.
God.
Anyway, that's my.
I just want to pluck him. No, wait. We gotta focus. Okay.
The important part's here, right?
The important part. So, I want to know. Can I just ask who's everyone out of the playable characters, or no, out of the new like cast members coming, like the main party, like Kate Sith would be new, Yuffie, Red 13. And playable or not, as Vincent and Sid will be there in some way. Can I ask who are y'all most excited for and why?
Okay. All right. She's putting the Sid passionate speech on hold for later. We gotta reach that. We gotta build up to it.
You gotta earn it, chat.
You gotta earn it.
I see what you're doing. You're deflecting. You're holding off. Okay. I would say I hate to be like the basic one here, but Vincent, because I actually didn't get him in original. I don't know anything about Vincent. I didn't play his game. I know. I didn't play JoJo's Rebirth, Vinny. I know. She's so disappointed. So I know nothing about him, and everyone freaks out. Everyone freaks out about Vincent, and they're so excited. The only time I have seen him is actually in Advent Children, and that was it. So I somehow skipped right by him because I was new to streaming, and I didn't know how I was conducting my streams, and hey, no backseating, and wow, my mods enforced no backseating. So I went right past his little room.
Oh my
Never
gosh.
saw him. I still get comments to this day on YouTube that are like, I can't believe you didn't get Vincent. I'm like, I know, I still don't know him.
I still remember how to get him. Like, I know the combination I need to get him. Like, as a kid, I remember writing it down. I won't spoil it in case, I don't know, y'all want to play the OG. I won't say it, but I could literally just blurt it out.
I remember.
Yeah, because he was in the booklet. So I always knew about him. So, and Yuffie. And so I had to make sure when I played when I was a kid, I'm like, where are these guys? Where are they? So I had to make sure I found them. But it's really cool to see that you missed him because you have so much more to look forward to. This is going to be really special for you.
Like he fits in with the aesthetic of characters that I do gravitate.
Yeah,
he's a fun guy. He's very fun. And he's very handsome.
That was like me when I played on stream. I was like, the only thing I know about this game is there's a hot man somewhere, and I want to get him. So
Sid.
So I was like, it's not Sid. Your time will come, Finny. Okay. Let me gush about Vincent for a second.
We'll be the basic ones.
I have an agenda. I'm sorry.
I remember that was like the only time I allowed like proper backseating to find him, because I was like, his aesthetic, his look, like everything about him, I was like, I need him in my team. I need this Vincent Valentine here. I need him here. And I remember
you need him to be your Valentine.
Exactly. It's just past, unfortunately. But,
now it's gonna be Matt Mercer voicing.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I love Matt Mercer.
What's not
so much.
Oh God, he's gonna do a great job.
All of the cast are gonna do amazingly. I've already like heard from the trailers and what we've played so far and we've seen. They all sound amazing. Like, absolutely. And like, I guess on the topic, going back to your question, Lee, I was like looking forward to actually playing more of Yuffie because of playing the DLC. Because
she was so
I
fun.
will admit, when I played the OG, Yuffie was not exactly my favorite character.
Don't speak your truth.
I will speak my truth. Because I'll speak my truth because it has a happy ending. So, I came across Yuffie, like these characters that we're talking about. It's just Yuffie and Vincent, I think, in the OG. You had to go out into the world and find them, basically. Because I realized as well, like, they wouldn't be in cutscenes when you played the OG. And I was like, oh, why is that? Because you'd have to find them. So I stumbled upon Yuffie completely randomly. And I remember reloading my save like nearly 20 times because
I had something similar experience.
She kept annoying me. I won't say I will not rob you from the frustration of playing the OG yourself and finding her. But just let
we don't want to do that.
Yeah, just let you know, it left a very sour taste in my mouth because I was like, you're in my party, but I'm not really happy about it right now. So, with those feelings and seeing when Integrate was announced with Yuffie, I was like, good, because I want to give this character a chance. I want to see, because the whole DLC like dedicated to her. It's like they're going to go into a lot of depth, and I want to know more about her. And I think I enjoyed playing as her the most out of all the playable characters so far. I think her combat was extremely fun, and I think that's also where the introduction of like the synergy system that has been worked and molded into Rebirth with all of the other playable characters now came from that with Yuffie, and how fun it was. It was so fun, and her personality and her confidence, it was something that really, really grew on me, and she's actually probably one of my favorite characters in the game.
Yay!
Yuffie.
I love
Redemption
Yuffie.
arc. So I am
Yay! I'm happy.
a Yuffie fan. I really like Yuffie. So yes.
That did
I have a little ramble that I've just like heard all of your thoughts. I'm just like stacking up thoughts in my brain. The aesthetic of Vincent is one of my favorite things ever. And when I played OG, it went so far as to the voice I gave him was just like, hello, I'm Vincent. So now that he actually has a voice, I'm very excited for people to like get that.
I'm
giving Dracula.
Matt won't be able to do what I did, but I guess he'll do it better or whatever, I guess. So I'm excited to see that presentation of him. Not quite my vampire man, but like, I'm so excited about it. And I was the exact same with Yuffie. In the OG, I was not a fan, and I was just like, oh my god, can she stop playing? And then I think there was literally a clip of it happening, of the very first scene of episode Yuffie, and I think that clip is entitled Hannah finally falling in love with Yuffie. And it's just me watching this cutscene and like slowly just melting and being like, she's so cool. And the combat was a big part of that, like having the duo moves were like, they added so much personality into the combat. And just seeing her like introduction into the new series was so cool, and I just loved her, and I felt so immensely for her. So I am so excited to see her in Rebirth. But there is another character who I'm also very excited to see, who we've maybe mentioned that name for someone a little bit. But I, in OG as well, was not a big Sid fan. However,
neither was I.
However, there is a however. It's a happy story. Like, we're gonna get that. I am genuinely, because I had like, obviously with no facial animations, no voice acting. It's so hard sometimes to like read and intake these characters. So the character that I am hugely excited to see in Rebirth is Sid. I am so interested in what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. I love Sid's voice actor so much, and that's going to do a lot, because one of my favorite VAs ever, who has played some of my favorite characters. So, oh boy, I'm very ready. I'm excited to suddenly fall in love with Sid to the immense amounts that I know are possible. And yeah, I'm so excited to experience Sid. I'm so thrilled about it. Anyway,
I
Finny,
cannot wait.
There she goes.
Chopping a bit.
Excuse me. I cannot wait to hear what you think about Sid when you're done with Rebirth. I need to know. I need to know from all of you.
So what do you
and
think
I need to
about
know
Sid?
from everyone who's watching.
What do you think, Finny?
You can't keep putting this off. Come on, let's hear it.
Sorry. So I'm personally most looking forward to Sid Highwind. If you're not, why you laughing? If you're not aware, he's my personal favorite character of the game, but favorite video game character ever. He's very important to me. He's been my favorite for since I was a kid. And I just, when I grew up, playing him, I thought he was so funny and so real. He's very imperfect, but I think he's a very important character, a very important character type. There's a moral to his story, and you can watch him grow from it. And I think the relationship that causes him issue in the OG is one that probably other people, unfortunately, can relate to. And I think it's a beautiful story. He has great depth. If you take the time to really like listen to his story, it's amazing. And he has hopes and dreams, and he just wants to go to space. And I knew he was going to be really handsome. And he looks handsome. I was very excited. He looks great. He sounds great. He's going to be the game of the year.
He's handsome and he wants to go to space, and he's game of the year.
Yeah, he is. He will be.
Well, as you were talking about that, I was reflecting also when Hannah was speaking about Yuffie. I think they did an incredible job portraying a young girl that is exactly her age and is up against the circumstances that she is, and it ages her. So you get to see her loss of innocence real time. And I think that's just really important and really well done, especially within video games. You don't see that too often handled as well as Yuffie's arc is. And to compare that to the OG, where she comes off as very annoying and very young, here she's very humanized, and there's a lot more to relate to with Yuffie, I think. And that is what's so endearing about her. So to see her post her arc and intergrade in Rebirth and see her join up with everyone is something I am so excited. I just want to see character interaction. That's my big thing.
I know. That's the best thing. Character interaction. Seeing them grow together. Seeing who clicks together and who doesn't. Oh my god.
And seeing Yuffie's immaturity as not something annoying or anything like that, but just like she should be immature. That's the life she should be living. So in Rebirth, like if I see interactions where it's like Yuffie is allowed to be a kid and like allowed to be the kid that she is. If it's with Barrett, it's over for me. I'm just gonna be passing away.
So I'm looking forward to the combat so much, because like I know I can like customize my team to like to have like just like in the OG when you could choose who was in your team, but even more expanded upon where it's like, oh, they can do these moves together, and it's like so cool. Like seeing them in the trailers as well, and how it's been so well received. It's like a Seven fans' dream to see like your favorite characters team up to pull off these amazing, so super cool fighting moves that is happening like in the combat. It's not just for show. It's like a part of the mechanic. Yeah.
It's a part of the narrative. Like you could read into that about who they are as characters.
Yeah,
it's great.
There's so much personality behind all of it. Like just seeing them interact both in the main quest and side quest, but then also in combat, being like, oh, I want to see these two, and like maybe see how like close they are, like how like it's choreographed. Is so cool to be able to see another side of them.
Yeah,
okay, dynamic I really want to see. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just gonna, I'll interject after. Go for it. I was just gonna
say, a dynamic I really want to see is Sid and Vincent. I want to see me too, girl.
But we got away with that.
That's just, it's gonna be so interesting, because I cannot picture those two characters together, because I never have seen them together. I didn't have Vincent, so.
We'll have to wait, but I think that'll be worth waiting for.
It will. Sure. They saved the best for last. We can trust and swear.
Exactly.
I can't believe Sid's gonna have Game of the Year twice. That's wild.
Oh my god, yes he will. Let's go. Thank you, Square Enix.
I was gonna say, like, to like round off like the fact that we're talking about all these characters and you know where they originated from the OG. I think it's an absolute testament to how amazing the remake has been for developing these characters. It's almost like it's like reading a book and they're jumping off the page now completely. Whether that's like through combat or Yuffie having her own DLC, or you can see their outfits in so much detail now, and that adds so much character to them. Like being able to see Cloud's outfit and how there's like wear and tear on his armor, and like it's slightly fraying at his shirt, and
All
like
the details.
yeah, and me trying to imagine what Aerith's hair would look like, not in polygons, was like, how is that gonna look? And it looked amazing. You know, seeing things come to life, it fills me with like this like childlike wonder. Like, even though I played it as an adult,
that's a good way to describe it.
It's like I can only imagine what it would be like for you, Finny, like experiencing that as a kid, and now in your adult life being able to experience this all over again. It almost feels like like you're in a child. It's like this game it like caters to that.
That's why I'm a
so
defender
much
of remakes.
Yeah,
I don't mind remake culture, whatever you want to call it. The internet calls it, you know, this wave of remakes, because it's my childhood. It's the nostalgia. It's so or other people's childhood, and it's so great to see people revisiting things that they loved when they were kids and seeing it age with them. And I think remake and Rebirth as well aged very well with their audience, as well as bringing in newcomers.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what's so wonderful about everyone being really passionate about remake and soon to be Rebirth is it's going to make them want to go back and perhaps play the OG or read that side novel that these new characters are from, or, you know, play a side game, watch Advent Children. And I think that's so wonderful just to gather in new fans. And there's just so much for them to take in and appreciate, and to see how far it's come since from 1997 through all the way to now. It's just it's phenomenal. It's incredible.
Speaking of that, what are our thoughts about the open worlds from what little we know about that's upcoming? Because Midgar felt pretty open to me. I don't know. It was technically linear, but it felt so big, and there were so many details. The open world of Rebirth, I don't know, because I'm always on the fence with open world games, but Rebirth feels like it has a lot to work with from the original to fill that
definitely
space.
It because there's just so much to work with
in the open world. Let me ask that.
So like not a town, or
no, a town, like
a town,
somewhere
like
that
a
you
place.
can go to that's upcoming. Yeah, what are you most looking for?
Something that I would expect in Rebirth. I mean, Junon, honestly. I've always pictured in my mind an important, I don't know what I can say, like important, televised event happening in Junon. I've always wanted to know what that would look like in HD, because it's a celebration that happens there. And I think, because there's trailers of it, so I don't know how much I should say or not say, but I
think what the general public knows would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like there's a parade coming up, and of course, you know, the limitations of the OG game can only do so much. Like, you're not going to see the confetti falling from the sky and the audience cheering and all the individual character expressions. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing Junon. Just in general, there, you know, it's surrounded by water. It's, you know, it's on the coast. There's a big cannon. There's so I'm just Junon in general. I think it's just, besides like what happens there, just with the parade, just it's such a beautiful location that was so limited back then that I want to see its full potential in Rebirth.
I can kind of like feel the same way imagining what like Cosmo Canyon will be like. Because
that's
there were
I do.
I don't think this isn't spoilers or anything, but in remake they refer to places like they did in the OG, like to certain locations. Little old me obviously wasn't paying too much attention, thinking that the game just ended at Midgar, like, because I was like, well,
they did a
there's
great
a
job
whole
of ending
world.
it there,
And hearing like Cosmo Canyon being mentioned, and how actually these places link to our characters, and how it's rooted in those places where you will find out more about these characters that you're journeying with, because most of them began as strangers, you know, and how they all come together and you experience these really character building events in these locations, especially Cosmo Canyon. I remember Cosmo Canyon making me cry like when I played it for the first time. The music is something that will forever stay with me, Cosmo Canyon especially, and
I can always picture that music.
yeah, so can I. It's the contrast of all the different places as well that we'll get to go to in Rebirth and that have been announced. And as well as that, I'm pretty sure they said that there's going to be about 400 tracks in this game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
400. So
didn't know about that.
my heart can only take so much.
400 new tracks. Yeah, someone in chat.
Oh,
yeah,
just the
new
ones.
tracks.
Yeah, wow.
Just the new ones. But oh my gosh, for someone that had played the original, had played remake, and gone to these different locations, Cosmo Canyon especially, and having those songs on repeat, like, and finally being able to see the location of where it can be. Like in remake, I would listen to Aerith's theme and the church and just all these locations that I would associate with the music, and to finally have that visually in front of me in like Rebirth now, all these places I've been like thinking about since playing remake, it's got me all excited, like I'm like I'm a kid on Christmas Day or something. Like, you know, it's that
Christmas Day feeling.
that
That's why I'm
feeling
a gamer. It's for that feeling.
like the 29th of February is my new Christmas. Like that's it. Every year. Yeah, just so much content that will come from that. And I think you mentioned like side quests and things. There will be things to do in every location,
Filling
and not
out the world.
yeah, and not just every location, like in the overworld as well, like the where you explore, there'll be things to interact with and do. There is like
secrets to find. Oh, I love
secrets.
Secrets to find.
I love
yes.
secrets.
I love secrets.
I still remember some of them from the original, and I wonder. They'll definitely probably still add those back, but
and the mini games and there's so much more. So much more to be excited about as well.
Yeah. I just talking about Cosmo Canyon, I have to go back to the question of characters we're excited to see. Bugenhagen,
Bugenhagen, yes,
love him.
I love
Iconic.
him. It's like
see the trailer or something.
Yes, I just started screaming when he showed up. I was so excited. I love him. He's the best.
He was like my favorite to voice in the OG.
Me too.
Yeah, because I was like,
me too.
how does this guy even sound?
I want to see what your voice was, and I'm like,
Yeah, let's do it right now so
I
everyone
can
can see.
I can do mine.
No live demo.
you want.
I think I gave him like the worst old man voice. Like I would cough like every 5 seconds.
Mine was just continuously like, I am Bugenhagen. It's just insane. It was just constantly insanity.
Why did they cast you as Bugenhagen? I don't understand.
Yeah, they really lost out.
That question for the years. Oh my god. No, anyway, now that I've embarrassed myself. Cosmo Canyon, Junon, absolutely. The parade and everything. Another favorite area that I can't wait to see at some point. Well, I guess kind of we've seen it. Maybe anyway, is Nibelheim. It's just such a. There's just such like a vibe attached to it, and it's just so like this like heartwarmingness, and obviously I won't get into everything, but there's just so much to it, and I think the aesthetic of it like just reflects its vibe beautifully, and it's just so stunning. But yeah, so many locations. One of my favorites is Costa del Sol. That's going to be a time.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
I'm
about
sure
that
that's
one.
going to be an adventure of sorts. And God, there's just so many. I can't wait. I just can't wait. It's going to be so good. And yeah, the mini games. Go for it.
Sorry.
No.
Interject with Gungaga.
Gungaga.
Oh, yeah.
There's gonna be little Easter eggs in Gungaga. I know we can't get into too many story spoilers here, but
Just speaking of Gungaga for a minute.
Gungaga.
Like little secrets that we could find in the game, like with Remake, something I was like how they're going to do it, if they do it the Hell House. And because it seems like weird. Why would a house be walking around on the map for you to have a random encounter with?
Oh my gosh.
And they handled it so well, and it just, I don't know, really respectfully, I thought.
How did I forget?
And so I can't wait to see what because there's an interesting monster in Gungaga. I don't know if they'll do anything with it. So I want to see what they do with Rebirth, what kind of little special secret enemies they kept in the game. That seems like impossible that they would, but they do. So I'm really looking forward to every random encounter I get.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what I recognize.
It gives me a lot of trust with where they're taking like Rebirth and what they're doing with the story and the characters and the locations, because it feels like they're really paying tribute to really iconic moments or creatures or characters in the storyline, and integrating it into because I remember even just choosing a difficulty in Remake was a whole new experience, like playing the game. Like you mentioned Hell House, that's a whole new experience on a harder mode. Like I'll tell you
the reason I won't do hard mode is
if I can do it, all of you can.
She's a gamer.
No.
You are gamers. I believe in you. I'll be there cheering you on. But yeah, I just think, again, that's just like a testament to, I love the fact that they've played around so much with what is possible and pushing the boundaries with this game. And I know that now they've done Remake and Rebirth is on the horizon. Seeing all of that pay off from what we've seen already, it's looking incredibly promising and very hype. I'm extremely excited to see what Easter eggs will be there. What will I not be expecting, you know? That is also there, because despite us all having played or not played, like if Rebirth's even your first like time playing something within the 7 series, there's always something new and exciting to take away from that. And I think that's just a testament to the team and their consideration.
Because Square has released a trailer where they've condensed, recapped Remake, so you can even jump into Rebirth. Yeah. Watch that, check out Rebirth, see if that is something that fits your criteria, if it jives with you, and then, you know, go back and play.
So I think if anyone's like wondering, can I just start with Rebirth? You could. You can. I think eventually I would recommend the Remake because it's just a really great experience. But Rebirth is also just a great title to get into Final Fantasy VII with. Yeah. And they will have that neat option where you can, because it was in the demo even, to catch up on the story. So you just be ready to go and just play it then. Because I know if you see the trailers, you know, some people are just so hyped. Like, I want to play this first.
You just want to check it out.
You'll be able
you see that trailer, you want to play it.
Understandable.
And I like that the dev team have come out and to say that if you do want to start with Rebirth, they have gone to efforts to make sure that new players are able to do that. You don't have to play the OG, you don't have to play catch up on anything. You can be there in the moment, in the hype with everyone else. Without
I feel like they package them well as their own separate stories, but obviously they go together.
I'm so excited for that, because like for the people who are going to start with Rebirth, as someone who started with Remake, and I just remember there was certain things that happened where I was like, what does that mean? I don't get that. What? Huh? What? And like chat's freaking out, and I'm like, I don't get what. Like I'm so excited, because that for me was just like, that just made me want to get into it more. Like it didn't even like have a block of anything. It was just like, okay, who's this? What does this mean? What is this? And I'm just going, why is there a cat? What does that mean? And it was just amazing.
Someone who's played it, I was like, why is there a cat?
So I just can't wait for people who start with Rebirth to then me watch them and see their reactions and be like, and then them go back through the story like I did. And it's just cool. It's just very cool.
Yeah. It's just,
and I'm glad that they've made that.
Generation
into
Final Fantasy VII. It's something like, especially if you grew up with it, like you, Finny, seeing more people get into it, like that's a dream come true as a fan. You just want to see people enjoy the
I want to see it grow. I want to see Final Fantasy VII take over the world. I want it to get all the fans as possible. And from what I've seen so far, heard so far, just from the trailers and I won't talk about the demo in detail, of course, but
yeah, you had a good time.
It's gonna blow your mind. I'm not even ready. They really just set the bar really high. And
Speaking of,
it's goodness.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. I'm speechless about it. So.
She's speechless.
She's just speechless. Speaking of taking over the worlds, how are varying opinions and feelings and excitement levels for Sephiroth?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Hojo.
I can't say anything bad. He's right behind me. Just realized.
He's right there.
He's there,
you.
isn't he? Haha.
There's been some Sephiroth peaks in the trailers.
I just think about Sephiroth's nose hairs a lot. I've talked about it already. I just think they're just like so high quality, and you can see so many of them on his nose, and it's just like, wow, that's really incredible. He's gonna ruin my life through nose hair alone, let alone plot and characterization and things happening on my screen.
The power.
So yeah, I'm excited a little bit.
I feel.
I'll be looking out for those nose hairs now.
Yeah. Same.
Okay.
I'll send you the pics. I'll send you the screenshot. I'll don't worry. I'm on it.
Okay,
I got them.
I was gonna say, I feel that the Rebirth is setting up a lot, not just like with the story of the characters that we go along with Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Barrett, Yuffie, all of them. It's also setting up a lot to do with Sephiroth, and obviously I don't want to go too far into it because I do not want to rob the people of their own experience, but he is such a complex character that he in the narrative he influences a lot of the cast's own journeys, own stories, and you're only left with questions and wondering why, what is his motivations? Why is he doing this? I know I was left with so many questions, like as I was playing the OG and the remake, and I think it's done on purpose to set you up to be more intrigued about him. I love when villains are set up to be that way, because the more questions you have, the bigger the payoff and the impact on everyone else, all the characters, and that confrontation or the even just mentioning his name. Like whenever the characters mention his name, there's always like a moment of silence. It's a big deal. Yeah. It's like they talk about him as on another level because it's like he's completely separate to.
He's one of the most iconic villains of all time.
Most iconic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen his hair?
Yeah.
L'Oreal, I'm worth it.
Well, if it isn't obvious enough, I do like Sephiroth.
He looks good back there.
You did a lot to get him home.
I did. His sword is broken. Square Enix knows
He'll
about
fix
that.
it for
It's
Rebirth.
fine.
Don't worry about that.
He'll fix it. Yeah, it's fine.
He'll fix it.
He doesn't need it right now. He'll need it in like 2 weeks. It's fine.
It is really interesting with how, because Sephiroth is so iconic and is so like, I feel like most people know visually him, at the very least. And it's so cool because I feel like in the OG, like you get a lot of him, but this is just such a side we've probably never quite seen or understood or got. And like, I love Sephiroth a lot and I think he's so cool, but I think Rebirth is gonna like change the Sephiroth game and like just give him that like complexity and those layers and just really get into it, which I cannot wait for because he's just so iconic. But I think he's going to get even more iconic and he's just going to like build on that in such an interesting way. Through his relationships with the cast.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Just humanizing him.
Yeah.
And that's such a key part of him is the human nature of it all, and I just can't wait. I really can't.
Speaking of iconic characters, there's another one I wanted to discuss. One of my personal favorites, Zach Fair.
Yes.
I know it's a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah.
Finny, I'm watching your face.
Don't call me out. Don't let them know. Don't let the people know.
Obviously, story spoilers aside, I just really like Zach Fair a lot. So I'm very curious to how they're going to work him into the narrative and how things are going to change possibly with Rebirth. I know we've had some peaks of things that could be things or not things, who knows? But yeah, after playing Crisis Core for my first time many years ago, he's just so good. He's so good. And curious to see how they're gonna possibly flip the narrative.
Well, yeah, I'll say as I'm kind of scared.
Don't be afraid, Finny.
Finny, here we go again.
Listen, fandom. It's nothing personal. I promise. That's the beauty of Final Fantasy, right? You're gonna have characters you mesh with, and the characters you don't, for whatever reason. Because we all come from different backgrounds, different personalities, and so while you don't like Sid, I do.
Speak your truth.
Thank you. I will speak my truth. So, I'm not the biggest Zach Fair fan. I said it. I did it. I said it. I'm not.
Every time I hear it, double damage again.
For me, he's not relatable to me, and I just can't get into him. And I appreciate what he brings to the story. I'm not going to deny that. He has an important role to fulfill, and I respect him for that. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Zach. Will I have a different perspective by the end of it? Will they change my mind? Will I like him? Will he learn how to do squats? I don't know. So I'm very excited to find out if they're going to change my mind. Well, I'm not sure about that, you know.
No, you're critiquing his form.
But that's what's really cool, because you know what Hannah said earlier about Sid and seeing if Rebirth will kind of change her mind about him, see him more of his character. That's me with Zach. Whatever they show, let's see what they do with him.
Yeah,
Fair.
I feel the remake. I'm trusting the process because of my experience with like the Yuffie DLC. What it did to a character that I didn't necessarily mesh with to begin with, and humanized them more and gave them more complexity and a voice, you know, because a lot of it we just playing OG, we just interpreted just the words on the screen, you know, and it can make a huge difference when there is life breathed into those words. And something that I found with Yuffie, was like, oh, she annoyed me. She do all these annoying things, because she's a child and doing certain things that it's just very within her character. And then seeing that in such a charming, energetic way, playing the DLC, made me warm up to her so much more than I ever thought I would.
Do you hear that, Finny? Maybe you'll be warmed up.
Warmed.
Zach's good boy nature.
Yeah. Perhaps.
Give enough depth.
Sips.
Okay, all right, we're gonna take one.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, we'll see. I'm open to it. I want them to change my mind. I really do. Because you know how happy it makes me to hear that a lot of y'all were indifferent about Yuffie. I've always been a fan of Yuffie. I thought she was always very funny and charming, and when I would play the OG, I'd have her in my party a lot. So to see that you got, you know, a little more depth to her character, and that y'all change some of y'all change your minds about her. So maybe that's going to be me with Zach.
That's the beauty of
Maybe.
the remake.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
That's what's exciting. There's like a new part. It's not just the OG remade. There's new elements to it that as someone like me who's done a lot, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what to expect, but it's going to be good. And I'm going to get a new perspective on a lot of different plot points and characters. And who knows how I'll be feeling about Zach at the end. Maybe I'll be in love.
Maybe. I do love Zach, and I think he's just so genuinely special in the Seven world, and like what he means for other characters is just so vital to the story and to him as a character. It's just like how other people think of him And I don't know, there's something about Zach that just like genuinely makes my heart like swell, but at the same time it's being crushed. Like he's just so special and kind and generous and just wonderful. He's so wonderful. And I think what's exciting is like maybe with Rebirth and the new talking as they roam around the world and the new stuff we're going to get for every character, maybe those things that make Zach so special are going to come out more and more because we're going to hear more about him and we're going to see more and hear people talk about him and Kangaga, and it's all going to be just so it's going to be so beautiful, and he's just the bestest boy, and I just can't wait to see how they do with him. Yeah.
I love what you said about him shining through other characters, and that's a huge character a way to view his characters through others, and I think that's really special and very indicative of a character's writing when they affect others around them so much that you can characterize them through them. I feel like I'm repeating the same points, but like it's just so special, and it's so rarely done well, and I think Zach's a good example of that.
Yeah, like he's so cute, and some of my favorite scenes in Remake are like two characters talking about him, and like they're not even saying his name or they're not even really doing it, but they're just, you can just tell how special this boy is, and I think that's just so incredible to be able to do with such little context in terms of the story so far, and the fact that I cared about this character when I played, and I hadn't played Crisis Core, and I hadn't played or seen Advent Children yet, and I've done all this extra stuff, but I just cared. Because they cared, and that's so special.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, how about the combat? So going from original and doing just regular turn-based combat, and then going into Remake and subsequently Rebirth with the active time combat, I found I fell into a different sort of what's the word? Like almost like it was a different strategy that I had to adopt, and you have to adopt it on the fly, but it's so fun, and when it clicks, it really clicks. I know we kind of talked about the intergrade moves where characters are teaming up, and we're seeing a lot of that being implemented in Rebirth because now we have so many characters. I don't know. I'm more excited for the combat than ever when it comes to Rebirth because of how many characters we can sift through now.
Yeah,
I think that's such a great modernization of 7, and it's just like they set a standard for combat, that's for sure. And but if it's something also that is overwhelming, or you prefer something a little less, they did have the classic mode that plays a little more along the lines of OG, of course not quite, but so it's like they try their best to cater to new and old fans, and I think that's really special because they didn't have to do that, but they did.
Yeah, I think my chat can help me figure out what it's called, but I know in Rebirth there are different like variations for like difficulty. That I think one of them is called like dynamic. So like if you are up for a challenge, like the hard mode in dynamic mode, there we go. Yeah, if you're up for a challenge like the remake, hard mode in Remake was a really welcome challenge. Then
I
they
wanted
have
to ask you about that because I didn't do hard mode, but you had a nice time with it.
It
right?
was really fun. It was nice because it felt like it felt slower. So I could really enjoy the beats of the story more, because the combat was tough. It was hard because it was hard mode, but the payoff after doing that was amazing. There's certain fights that I won't mention because I'd much rather people go play that for themselves and experience it. When you play for the first time and then you realize you can play this through hard mode and you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is, I know I'm going to spend so much time. Yeah, the replayability, and I think the replayability of what Rebirth is going to be just for the combat situations is going to be on an epic scale. because it also plays into the fact that working off episode Yuffie with the synergy attacks with 2 members of your party, it's not only fun to play, but it's fun to see like 2 of your favorite characters joining forces to pull off these like sick attacks that I don't know, I when I'd see these attacks like in trailers, I would just be like, gosh, it's like what me as a kid would like imagine on a screen, like if 2 of my favorite characters came together to pull off this super cool move, you know. And the fact that that's completely like customizable with having different characters in your party. You can switch in and out of who you want there, just so you can have more options and explore that too. I love that there's even more variety beyond what they had achieved with Yuffie, just because I thought, wow, that's it's so cool to include that now you've got 2 team members teaming up to pull off a move. And to take that and carry it into Rebirth, like, people loved that in episode Yuffie. We're going to keep that going into Rebirth, where you want Barrett and Aerith to team up together. You sure can, and it looks amazing. Yeah. It just adds a
personal touch to it.
Yeah, it adds so much personality because it makes them feel more like a group. It doesn't
exactly,
because I know in Remake you would switch between the characters separately, and you can still do that. It's just nice that you can now switch between the characters and then also have them come together, which is like the synergy of the group. I love the name because that's what it feels like. It feels like they've got great synergy.
It's a bonding moment.
Yeah, they're bonding. Exactly. My chat saying Aerith with sunglasses. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we get special moments like that, which I think is great when there's a term for this, that's a new term. Ludo
narrative?
Yeah, where they incorporate, it's the idea of incorporating storytelling through gameplay that's very unique to a video game.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what that is. It's a great way of demonstrating their growing closeness through an actual combat, things that you have to do to progress the story mechanically.
And I may include, but obviously completely avoiding spoilers, but we all know here, and if you're in chat and you have played Remake, the ending of Remake, that is a huge, like, for you playing that, it's like all the team coming together.
It's a nice moment.
Yeah, it's an amazing moment where it feels like that synergy of them all coming together. That's like what you love about the combat, and the fact that when you play as just Cloud, you feel kind of alone, you know. It's almost like you're itching to have team members with you. It feels lonely. So I'm really excited. That's like probably the biggest thing I'm excited about Rebirth is the combat. And it didn't used to be. I was always really story focused with games, and I'm really glad that what I've taken away from Remake is that I can enjoy the combat in a game, like even more than a story sometimes, you know, in certain places. Like I found myself looking forward to doing boss fights in hard mode, and I never thought I would see that day when I actually enjoyed the stress. But I did, and I do, and I'm probably going to replay it again, like, next week. Just to...
That's so cool that you...
I'm playing hard mode right now,
I'm really
and
grateful.
It's just so rewarding.
Yeah.
Oh, God. They make you work for it. It's like a whole different experience than normal mode.
Yeah.
And I think Rebirth is, I know you touched on it. It's going to have that same, like, feel where there's replayability.
Yeah, because Rebirth works... difficulty-wise, where it gets harder as you level up rather than you click on a harder difficulty. It like the difficulty will depend on you, pretty much, and that I think is a really exciting prospect for me, because I feel like once I got into the rhythm of hard mode, it was so fun. So once I get into the rhythm of the harder difficulty for Rebirth, I will find it just as rewarding. And that feeling is like, it's like undefeated when you finally overcome something so difficult in a game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely what you say with story over combat is definitely what I had on my first time in Remake, because like I don't really fully remember how many chapters specifically it was in. I think it was like 6, maybe 7. I hadn't leveled up materia or done any of that. I just had no, like, I was just like, wow, I'm just having a great time. I love that. So yeah, it was, I had some rough fights, and then eventually someone was like, maybe you should do this. And I was like, I can do what? Wow, that's incredible. So it's cool that there's like so much to learn all the time. And now on my replay, I'm doing the VR missions for the first time, and I beat Shiva, the first one, like 2 nights ago or something. And that's really cool, and I'm like learning a whole other side to it, because I was such a story person, like, and I was so absorbed in the story of Remake immediately because I just loved the characters and I loved what was happening. So to play it again and then going forward into Rebirth, just being a lot more into the combat of things and doing all that is going to be really fun. And I do think the synergy attacks will be such a part of that, because it's not only, I'm not going to rely on the same characters every time, because I want to see those synergy attacks. I want to see those connections between the party members and like party banter, or like how they, like when you swap to them, what they say, like in Remake when Eric's like, it's my turn now, and just like that sort of stuff. Like I just love it. So I think seeing it and like what they say when they're about to attack together, and like how the party banter is gonna work, like all of that just builds and builds and builds on the narrative itself, and the combat weaving itself into the narrative in that way, and just fully incorporating both. It's just I can imagine Rebirth just excelling at that completely. Just from the trailers alone, I'm like, I'm already sold 100%.
You mentioning materia, I couldn't help but laugh when I was playing the remake in comparison to having played the OG like a couple of months before. I was like, I can't believe I'm still swapping materia between my characters. Like, I should have learned this, because I think everyone has that issue sometimes where it's like giving certain characters certain materia, and it's just like, oh gosh, I need to train up all these materias. And but the materia system really grew on me, because it comparing, because I had played a lot of Final Fantasies in between that, like 7 OG to remake, that it was really refreshing to see what it had taken and what it had made, and kept the charm of I love it so much. It's
satisfying.
And I love also, because circling back again, I won't like dwell on the 13 stuff, but I was a little 13 girl when I started off, so knowing that a lot of the core team worked on remake, it brought a smile to my face, because things like the stagger system and Crystarium, the Crystarium to like level up your characters and weapons and things like that, it was so familiar and really refreshing to see that, because something that I had wanted to talk about with other people for so long, like, oh, 13's my favorite game, to see that in 7 and to tell people, oh my gosh, it's here, like, to get excited over that, and other people not realize that. It was really nice, and just, you know, I think that's why I also really adore the combat system that Rebirth is shaping up to be, because I've seen like the bones of it, of where they've worked from, and really have a lot of appreciation for the team that worked on it, because they worked on one of my favorite games of all time. You know, like they shaped my childhood, and they're continuing to shape my gaming experiences into my adult life. And it's just always a really refreshing and nice thing to just experience. And something
it's so special. Yeah, it's so special that like you playing 13 can find stuff from that to love in remake and rebirth, and then people who play Remake or play Rebirth can then go play 13 and have the opposite experience, and just how Final Fantasy like leads into playing every Final Fantasy ever. Like I started with Remake when it came out, and now I have over 1,000 hours in Final Fantasy 14, and it owns my life.
Yeah.
So it's just so special how, even though they're their own stories, you can still, like, there's the call outs to the other games that you love, and that's just something special with the series as a whole.
I want to also mention, because someone in chat said it too, that the composer that worked on a lot of the music in 13 and 13.2 also worked on a lot of tracks in Remake. So, and the crazy thing was, like, I could tell the exact tracks.
You could probably hear it.
Yeah, I could hear it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know who did this. I know. And I'd look it up and I would be right. And I was like, gosh, this is just it I don't know. It almost makes me speechless to just find those little connections that go.
It's just cool to see the franchise build.
Yeah, like the behind the scenes of how these games are created and who worked on them, and from that point, like in my childhood all the way to this point, you know, I could never imagine telling my younger self, like, you're never gonna believe what happens in the future. Basically, this game called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out, and it's you know, it's an incredible feeling seeing it sprinkled everywhere in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when we were talking about the team attacks, it feels so much like Final Fantasy 15 sometimes to me.
Yeah.
And I love 15. I will always be a 15 defender. That is still one of the most shining examples, in my opinion, of just amazing chemistry between cast members in a video game. It feels so real, and their dynamic was just incredible all the way through the combat. Their random dialogue lines that you could trigger with their combat moves, right? Their team attacks. And to see that be reused in a way that's completely new, but like maybe has drawn inspiration from in Final Fantasy VII is so cool, because here we are, we're getting a fresh new paint on these old characters that people love, but they're getting like the upscale paint of what has come after 7.
Yeah.
Just really, really neat.
It's really cool to see y'all gush over different Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
As someone who's just been a fan a long time, it's like no matter what game you start with, it's so special and so magical. It just makes you want to check out the others in the entire series.
That's how 10 was for me.
And you can see little connections between them, even though different teams work on them. They all have, you know, similarities. And we all find different things that we really like. We got some 14 enjoyers. We got 13 enjoyers. We got 15 enjoyers.
Yeah. There's a lot in my chat right now.
Do you think
that is what's so special about Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
It just never ends. There's something for everyone.
Yeah. They're all separate stories, but you're going to find things to love.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I keep interjecting.
No, please do.
Rebirth could be a good jumping off point for people that are just getting into Final Fantasy for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the latest tech, the latest combat
look
system.
into the whole franchise even.
Yeah, it's gonna make people want to check out everything. The voice acting, the music, the gameplay, the art.
I think I could interject, because I think there's a good question here in chat, actually, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Someone asked, and I think we might all have someone different, but they asked, do you all have a favorite voice actor for Rebirth? Like, is there a character's voice actor that you're most looking forward to hearing their performance? Because I know that
I'm trying to choose just one.
I know, right? Because I was about to say, I think we all have, like, everyone, but I have quite a personal one. I'm most looking forward to seeing Barrett's voice actor. Looking forward to seeing John's performance, because he is just such a character, like as a person. Like his presence is just like it's infectious. Like his happiness and his excitement is infectious. And whenever I see on social media when he's interacting with fans, or I've heard his interactions at cons, it's always been like he's so incredibly passionate about playing Barrett, and Barrett was a character that I grew to absolutely adore playing Remake, and still to this day I think he has one of my favorite performances that I've ever seen in a video game. A point I can't spoil for you in Remake. It's worth you finding that out for yourself, and you'll know which one it is, because the emotional beats that he hits with his voice and just he embodies that character so well. And from what we've seen with the trailers for Rebirth, there is so much more to his character than what we know. And that's got me, like, one of the story things for Rebirth, that's got me the most excited, is to see that. I almost feel like I'm gonna try and immediately go and find where I can find his story stuff in the game, because I need to hear it. I need to hear how he's going to tackle this incredibly beautiful and so many emotions, like a story about Barrett. So yes, I am looking forward to seeing his performance the most. John Bentley.
That was the one. That was one of the three main ones that I was thinking of, was Barrett, because I think Barrett's gonna have soul-crushing, beautiful, incredible voice acting in Rebirth. But I can't choose between them, so I'm just gonna say both of them. Sorry.
Go for it.
Bree as Aerith and Cody as Cloud is gonna be just incredible. Cody's gonna have like such a time with Cloud. Obviously, we're not gonna get into anything, but like there's a lot to portray in Cloud, in different ways and different voice acting, and that's gonna take a lot of skill, and it's gonna take a lot to really sell those bits. But I know it's gonna happen because it's already happened in Remake. And then Aerith is gonna have such incredible moments, and what do you know, they're two of my favorite characters, so I'm very excited to see them interact as well. And yeah, I just think they're gonna do amazing. And then also I'm really excited to potentially check out the Japanese voices at some point with Sakurai as well, and that'll be really cool. So yeah,
that's a great way of I love doing that. I love switching between different dubs and getting new takes on the same character. It's like picking a whole art form apart by itself and how to read a character.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say mine is Yuffie, coming off of Intergrade. Considering where her character is at post Intergrade, because gosh, Susie nailed it in the DLC, and going through the whole game, knowing what we know about Yuffie and what she's been through, and seeing her assimilate into the group and being a part of a team after her storyline. I'm just my heart breaks for her, you know? Like, I feel so much for Yuffie. And I was just blown away by Susie's performance in the DLC. And
that's probably why Yuffie, like, that's probably why she works so well, is her voice is just incredible. So
yeah, her performance just sold the character alone for me. So my vote goes to Yuffie for me. Very excited to see more of her.
I've been trying to think, and it's so hard because I agree with all of y'all. It's so hard to pick just
Sid.
one.
It's okay.
You can say Sid. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course. Duh. Of course, I'm looking forward to Sid's voice acting. But I was trying to think of someone besides him because that's an obvious answer. Because they all did such good performances in Remake, and they're true. I'm trying to think of story beats that we should hit in Rebirth. And I want to say Red 13 with Max.
Yeah.
I know we barely got to touch on Red in Remake. It already sounds amazing, but there's some pretty big moments coming up in Rebirth that we can really hear a wide range of emotion from him. And he's a puppy, and my dog has been pacing around back there. And so it's extra special to me. I love Red, and I don't know if I'm ready to hear any because half of the performance is the voice acting, like half of the whole, like, you know, feeling. And I'm just picturing in my mind where Rebirth could go, and every character's just gonna have that wow moment. They're all my favorites. They're all gonna be my favorites. I can't pick one. I can't. I guess I pick Red, but I can't pick one. It's
Yeah, because I think Max Mitchellman's amazing.
Yeah,
really
his
talented
range
voice actor.
is so impressive.
Yeah,
Like I didn't even know that he was Red 13 until
neither
looking
did
at
I.
lyrics.
Neither did I.
Just
Same.
not how I've heard him before at all.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was a good one. I wasn't even thinking about Red 13.
Yeah, but there's just so many characters like
I know.
that we could say is what we're looking forward to the most.
all of them.
All
It's
of
just
them.
because the performances in Remake were just all so good. There's just not a single critique I could pick on any of them, and they all just make you feel so many things.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard to pick just one
Yeah, I can't.
that
wait
I'm
to
looking
see-
forward to.
I can't wait to see Britt Barron's
Oh yeah.
performance as Tifa,
Yep.
because she blew me away in Remake, like amazing. And yeah, I think my chat agree. Like her playing Tifa was just almost the highlight of Remake for me. Like her voice and.
I know. That was a perfect casting.
But yeah, perfect
was-
cast. A lot of Remake has just, I think all of it, honestly, for me. Like
Yeah.
the voice.
It's hard to imagine anyone else.
Yeah, they have breathed so much life. I don't know if that's the word. Yeah, so much life into these characters, and
It's very inspiring.
yeah, given them
Absolutely.
like beautiful, amazing voices, and we're very grateful. If any of the voice actors are watching, we're very grateful. We're very grateful. Thank you for existing.
Thanks for making us feel things.
Yeah, thank you for making me cry
Thanks for
really badly.
Yeah.
It's on the internet now.
Thanks for being really good at your job, and now I'm having
Thank you for being good at your
emotions.
job.
A fun character question I have is who was your favorite character at the end of Remake, and who do you think your favorite character is going to be at the end of Rebirth?
Oh.
Or you can have like a host of characters. It's hard to choose just one.
I'm
I'm trying to think.
My favorite character at the end of Remake was Aerith. Aerith's one of my favorite characters of all time, like in video games. I absolutely adore who she is. And her theme is just something that never fails to make me well up and cry. It raises so many emotions, and so does her as a character. But I think by the end of Rebirth, and this may sound like, I don't know, like a lot of people probably feel this way, it's actually Cloud. Like, I think Cloud's gonna end up being one of my favorite protagonists in the series by the end of Rebirth, or by the end of this trilogy of games, because I feel that the games we've seen so far with Remake has explored his character in a way that I never thought possible. And I'm very grateful that the games have decided to explore him in this very complicated way, because I know Cody had said in a panel interview that there is so many complex parts of him that he wants to do justice with his voice, and making sure those emotional beats and understanding of him is understood by the player. And I felt like we were getting there by the end of Remake, like how he softens up and where he closes off, like what situations bring that out of him. And I feel Rebirth is going to present those situations to let him grow and really develop him in a way that we haven't seen before, you know, regardless if we played like the OG or not. You know, it's going to be an absolute privilege to play that and experience that, I think. So that's my answer.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I would actually agree. I was thinking Cloud as well, because I have such a soft spot for really good, tragic, misunderstood protagonists. And Cloud, after Rebirth, knowing where the story might go, I'm just so excited, because I know I'm just gonna melt every time he's on screen, the more and more we get to know. Because his portrayal, like you were saying, was already incredible in Remake. Like it really blew me away, the complexity we were seeing underneath the surface. And we might be getting a little bit of a bigger glimpse into that, perhaps, in Rebirth. So I would also say Cloud, perhaps by the end of Rebirth, but my favorite at the end of Remake was Tifa, because Tifa. Okay, I'm gonna do a huge deep cut here. One of my favorite things ever is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I love Buffy so much as a character, and Tifa just gives me big Buffy vibes. Like, there's so many parallels there. She has to be so strong and put together, and she physically is very strong too. Like, do not mess with her; she's gonna throw hands. I love Tifa by the end of Remake. I was just, I was so blown away by Tifa, and yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see the focus kind of switch for me more onto Cloud, back onto the protagonist.
Okay, my turn.
That was abrupt. When I have a thought that's ending, it's ending.
So I want to say 2 because I want to point out a villain. But going into Remake, my favorite was, or playing Remake, it was Tifa. And I've always liked Tifa. She never was my favorite character, but I really loved her. And I think Britt's performance of her would just sealed the deal. It was amazing. She experienced so many like different moments, different levels of depth, and you get to see her just go through so much emotional. I don't want to like spoil, but it's like it's just she went through a lot. She went through a lot, and she's very strong in every sense, physically and mentally, emotionally. And I just really relate to her character a lot, and I really admire her spirit and her bond with Avalanche and the cause, and still having a kind heart and at the end of it all. So I would say Tifa, but I also want to point out Rufus in Remake.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember Rufus in the OG. He was cool. I love villains. I'm a villain girl. But he didn't do much for me. Like, he was cool, but I'm like, okay. Remake changed my mind about Rufus, and he's only in there just a little bit, but it is so impactful. His character, what they did with him, they took his character and just elevated it times 10, and I just can't wait to see more of him, more of his sass, more of his villainy ways, and more everything. I really love Rufus. And I think he was one of my favorites in Remake, but I think going into Rebirth, he's going to be one of my favorites. Leaving it, I just want to see more of him. But besides Rufus, that's not fair. You know I'm going to say Sid Highwind.
You're just trying not to say Sid.
You know I'm going to say Sid.
That's what? Huh?
You know I'm going to say Sid. I don't care how big or small his role is. It's going to be Sid. He's a very special character to me. I don't care. It's going to be Sid. Is it fair to say him, or should I say someone else?
I think it's the most fairable to say.
Okay. You need to say Sid. You need to represent for the people who are not saying Sid.
You're right. I pick Sid when no one else will.
Yeah.
I pick Sid.
One fan. I'm kidding. If there are only one fan, if he only has one fan, you were that fan. There we go.
I sure am.
I'll answer my own question, I guess. I'm gonna say 4 favorites for Remake because I can't choose. So
that's how good the game is.
I know.
My favorites were Cloud, Aerith, Jessie, and Reno. They were my 4 like big timers. I just like loved them in such different ways. Which it does feel like cheating, but they're all just the best. And Jessie was so special to me. Like, Jessie is one of my favorites ever. She's just, she just has goals and dreams, and I just love the way that they tell her story. I think she's just so relatable and heartwarming, and I'll go for something a bit different for Rebirth, maybe. I would say Cloud, and I do think he's probably the number one, but I'll also say Biggs and Sephiroth. I am the most excited for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Biggs is going to be really, really interesting and cool coming away from Remake. I think Biggs has got so much story to tell, and he has all these like beautiful, subtle characterization bits of his nerves and anxieties, and he's one of those characters that are just so real and human, and like even when the story gets to these grander levels, you can see him, and he's still human, and he's still like going through those daily anxieties that we have, and I think that's really special. And Sephiroth, from what I was saying earlier, the layers and stuff I think they're going to do with him, and how much they're going to add to him, it's going to change me, and him and Cloud are going to change me. And wow.
I'm also fixated on them too. I'm like, there's so much here. We're going to get to see it.
Yeah, we should pick what villain we're looking forward to.
Oh, that's exciting.
There's a lot. There's a variety. We got Rufus. We got Hojo. We got Sephiroth.
Hojo's gonna have moments.
He is.
I'm looking forward to seeing Reno and Rude again. Because
yeah.
every time they'd show up, like OG or remake, it was just so much fun. Like, because they're dynamic. It's like they're on the opposing side to like the characters, like with Shinra, but you can't help but love them. Like they are just so I don't know what the word is, like you might be able to help me find it, but like you can't help but smile whenever they come on the screen, or their banter, or the way they interact with Cloud, and it's just, there's always such joy there, and knowing like whenever like Reno or like Aerith, you know, like interact, or Rude and Tifa, or like any of those interactions, I was thriving off those so much, because I knew that I couldn't hate them. I can't hate them, you know. Not all villains you have to hate, and I really like them. And also, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing more of the Turks in Rebirth, because
I was going to say that.
Elena as well, which was very
she got a
exciting.
reveal.
Got the reveal as well.
Can't wait.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That's who I was going to say.
Yeah, really?
Same. I was gonna say
that.
I think there was a collective cheer when everyone saw, because that was the big question on everyone's lips. Really, was like, who's gonna show up in Rebirth?
So cool.
Elena's
Just the Turks in
awesome.
general.
She's kind of relatable, you know. She's a bad guy, but I don't know. I worry about spoiling her, so I don't know what I can say.
It's hard because we're
I keep wanting to say something, but like, I don't know if I'm saying too much.
Containing our excitement for your benefit.
Yes.
God, but every villain, like in Remake, the villains were, you just love to hate them. I mean, I love to love them. Hojo is just so disgustingly amazing. Oh God, he's just so evil. It's depicted so well. Rufus, the same thing, and Sephiroth, and in Remake they did such a good job about just oozing that disgustingness out of them. And in Rebirth, it's probably going to be even grander. And then we have new villains. We have Elena, who knows what else, we just don't know. I'm personally looking forward to, more Rufus, but Hojo. I would like to see Hojo some more.
I love that you want to see Hojo. I want to see Hojo just because of how much you fixated on him.
Yeah.
He's a great villain. If a villain can bring something good to a story, they're like an S tier character to me, and he brings everything.
They hate him.
He's great. He's great. He brings like, conflict to the story, and it's wonderful. So many characters will have issues with them, and I want to see them interact, and I want to hear what they have to say about them. Hojo.
Hojo.
Good answer.
100%. Yeah, I'm big on Hojo as well. I really can't wait to see more of him. I think I will say, if I don't say Elena, I will say Scarlet, Palmer, Heidegger. I think they are just like, in this, they're kind of like Turk-ish in the way that they're so comically evil at some point.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's
almost
such a
theatrical.
joy to watch. Yeah, like
Yeah.
watching Scarlet freaking kick over a cameraman and be like, yeah. And I'm just like, yeah. You should,
step on
yeah,
him?
maybe I do like Shinra. Yeah. And
like
it's- It's just incredible. And then Palmer just scuttling around doing his little Palmer stuff. I'm just like, yeah, guy, go. And I really can't wait. Like, they're so fun. They're such personalities. And
I know they're all
Yeah.
unique personalities of evil. There's an evil for everyone. I'm excited.
It is. There's so many good ones.
There really is, though.
I love how they also. Oh, sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna
No,
say
go
like how each of the villains that we're mentioning play into like really key parts of the themes and the narrative of the game. Like they carry that the negative part of it, like the environmental focus of the game is like a lot to do with Shinra and their what they are doing to the world and destroying it, and that kind of like that tying in with like Avalanche and that they're good contrasts. And then with the Turks versus like your team, your party, like they're out to obviously I can't go into story things, but that their conflict with your party and the theme of friendship and the bonds that you have made makes that conflict even stronger with why you should be so against them, you know.
Yeah.
I just feel that like is a testament to how well these characters fit into the story, even if you love to hate them or love to love them, because they're yeah, there you go, Finny. Yeah, I was trying to word it.
Love to love them.
Love to love.
we love to love, hate to love, love to hate,
love.
hate to hate.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
All of it and more.
Apologies, I didn't want to like interrupt
No,
you.
you're okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. No, I was gonna say it's tough because I don't know how much I can say, but the two villains that we got, the two last villains in Intergrade.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
they were so
yeah.
cool. I want to see
Yes.
more.
We'll have to
I also love their voice
know if-
actors.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
the voice acting, the music, just the aura. Especially the last one in the main story. Ooh, that was one of my favorite battles in the whole remake franchise yet. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. That's a bit of a wild card. I would love to see him pop back up. And also that goes hand in hand with my whole I'm so excited for Yuffie and her performance, and
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any conflict there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I loved that battle. Oh, it just like got under my skin. It was so sinister, and I love villains that can do that. It's almost scary.
Oh, I don't want to say too much, but I can't wait to see what they borrow from the rest of the compilation, like what they did with Remake. Like in Remake, they took some characters from the Turk side story, The Kid's All Right, that book. They touched on Dirge a little bit. I can't wait to see what they bring into Rebirth going forward with compilation.
Yeah.
That's going to be really exciting.
I think I've mentioned it, maybe not during our discussion, but like I know like we've talked a lot about 7 anyway. How the remake and then going into Rebirth is truly like a love letter to like each of these games that make up this 7 universe. It's bringing out the best in everything that we have experienced, regardless of if you've played like which games you have played. It's struggling for words, but like the idea that they can take such beloved moments and characters and themes from all over the series and bring them together for something like Rebirth is something that, like, I don't know, I could never imagine if I played the OG as a kid, or
I know. It's
having
gotta be so special.
Yeah, having played Remake when it came out and then waiting with everyone else with bated breath for when Rebirth was going to be announced, and now it's only in 2 weeks. It's like, I will have my answers, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming up quick, and it's still so relevant. It's so relevant, and that's just so beautiful. I love storytelling, and I love stories that can pervade the test of time, and they still hit home, and that's exactly what's going on here. Remake is so
Absolutely.
cool. It's such a, even the fact that we're getting a remake of an old story and telling it in a new way and experiencing both stories is a new way of looking at storytelling in of itself.
Yeah.
If I'm making any sense. Because that can only be done really through, well, I mean, I guess any remake, but yeah, remake culture, or this era of remakes in general, is very unique because of that. It's just it's a new way to look at storytelling.
Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful. We're over time now, so I don't know if we wanted to take questions from chat about anything anyone's looking forward to, or maybe they're curious about our opinions on something.
Dad, you got questions?
So I'm saying golden saucer, golden saucer, golden saucer.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't mention gold sauce.
We didn't even mention the golden
That ties
saucer.
in with like mini games and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I love mini games. I will go down a whole rabbit hole.
Same.
With mini games.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
For what they
Yeah,
already
I'm just telling you right
teased,
now
it's
with
just,
that.
that's 10 hours of mini games right there. Oy.
Yeah.
Mini
There's,
games are so
there's a
fun.
certain thing I don't even know if it's possible to mention. It was in the trailers about the mini games, but I don't want to say too much. But like they have. There's one in particular I'm looking forward to. I can't mention it here,
I haven't
but
seen anything yet.
because I don't know if because I know other people have been like waiting until the game comes out. But the amount of focus that they have done on the mini games is insane. Like there is
Oh, I'm so excited. It's
so
gonna be bad for me.
much, and as someone that like when I play Final Fantasy 14 and I'm supposed to be doing the main story quest, and I see someone that has a card above their head, I'm immediately playing Triple Triad for like
So true.
half an hour, and then going back to what I was supposed to be doing. I can only imagine that Rebirth is going to be exactly like that, where I should be doing something, but no, this guy wants me to ride a chocobo somewhere. I'm gonna do that
The
instead.
squatting
you know?
minigame in Remake is one of my favorite mini games of all time. Because it's just so fun. You get into the rhythm, and I just think that Final Fantasy is great with mini games in general.
Yeah.
I'm
We're
really
gonna need it.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna need those pauses in between all these moments that make us cry.
I'm very grateful, actually, that they've given me
Like
this.
I think they did it for us because they know we're gonna destroy the fandom. So put a mini game here in between all of this like heartache and excitement. Yeah, put that there and put. I think they did it for a reason. It's for our hearts.
And
you know?
if I could actually add on to that, I remember not doing too many of the mini games in OG because the most I did was like in the Golden Saucer stuff, but and then the ones where you had to do it in the narrative. I love how Remake took those mini games, well, one in particular in Yuffie's DLC, and actually made me enjoy it.
Oh, I loved that one.
Yeah, for Condor.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They actually took that and made me enjoy it. And
I have a whole compilation of my video about how obsessed I was with that.
yeah,
It was bad.
I was like, oh, how can this get any better? And you can go around and challenge people to it.
I know.
I challenged everyone. I wouldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I didn't think I was gonna like care about it that much. I'm like, man, they did it so well. I'm just addicted.
Yeah,
I'm scared for Rebirth. I'm gonna get addicted to every minigame.
I'm doing it all over again.
And with the
currently.
gold saucer being in Rebirth, the amount of mini games in there alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm excited. It's gonna be bad. I'm gonna put in so many hours into this game.
Like,
So am I.
it's been 3 months, and like, Finny, have you beat the game? I'm still in the gold saucer. What do you want me to do?
It's gonna be me. I get it.
Yeah, when I played Remake, like I was saying earlier, like I was such a main story person. Like I could not do side quests in any game ever. Like I just wasn't built for that. But now, years later, I am very built for that, and it takes over games, and I've grown. And
You play.
yeah, I'm gonna spend way too many hours, and then also just like I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen. I think the different modes of transportation around the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have a blast, just moving from A to B. I'm just like, wow, from minigame to minigame.
I mean, photo
another
mode
minigame.
alone is a mini game. So
Yeah.
tack on another 10 hours with that too. 10 hours of mini games, 10 hours of photo mode.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about photo mode.
I know. It's just so packed with everything,
addictive.
and it's like my heart can only take so much.
Yeah. Lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I don't, obviously I can't talk about the demo, but I just know from playing it, the amount of times my jaw dropped and I was left speechless. The amount of detail that's, and Remake is already really good in, you know, detail and storytelling, but just seeing what the little bit they've done in that demo with Rebirth, I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready. It's like, it's a remake, but better in Rebirth. That's what we're in for. And
This is technically the next Final Fantasy game, even though it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next main line.
Or not a sequel, but the next part.
Yeah.
It's so unique in how it's being done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, were there any other questions or anything else that we wanted to touch upon?
someone in my chat, I don't know if, do y'all have any fond memories from the extended compilation of Final Fantasy VII?
The extended compilation?
Do they mean
Like
As in,
Dirge of
like,
Cerberus, Advent Children?
side-
Oh, just all of
yeah,
it.
Crisis Core. Yeah.
There's one specific scene in Advent Children, but I'm not gonna say it. But like, it's just the scene to me, and yeah, I just cry.
we're on straight no spoilers for your own benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hard
sorry, I can't like say what scene it is, but it's fucking.
I can say
Oh, go ahead. I have a
okay.
great new question for everyone.
I can say like one thing that does stick with me, and I don't know if it's stuck with all of you, but we won't elaborate on it. It's the ending of Crisis Core. That
Oh, that's what I was gonna
we're the same person.
I think that's what, like after I finished Crisis
Yeah.
Core, I was like, I'm all in. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
ready. Like,
I'm all in
it's
for this
over.
7 ride. Like get me in there.
I think that was the first time I like cried heavily on stream, which okay, I get it. I'm known for that now. But it was that the
Same.
Crisis Core was the first time. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That was it.
Hopefully that answers your question without
Sound
giving
fair.
context.
Yeah.
For me, it's something special would be playing Dirge of Cerberus for the first time, and that was years ago.
I love that
Because
you have this memory.
because this was my HD Final Fantasy VII.
She has the man. Oh my gosh.
Just pulling it out.
You're just
ready to
so
go.
And
Here's my reference.
I look at just the graphics of that, or I think about it a lot as I'm playing Remake, and it's like, I could almost cry by how far technology has come, how video game creations have come, and how lucky and blessed we are to have these developers make these wonderful games for us.
Yeah.
I always look at I remember the Shinra mansion in OG. I thought that looked cool at the time, and then I saw
That's
it
cool.
in Dirge of Cerberus, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's in HD! Oh my god, this is amazing! Look at all these rooms! Ah, look at that! There's the safe." And then I can't wait to see it again in Rebirth and just come full circle. Yeah.
Oh,
That
it could be
feeling
so creepy too.
Yeah, that feeling was how I
love creepy stuff.
with Crisis Core. Exactly that feeling.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
played Reunion when that came out. 'Cause that was
yeah, I've
that was
never played
my
Reunion.
experience. It's almost like people's
Yeah.
experience with like OG7 and then Remake. Like my experience wasn't Crisis Core and the PSP, like OG. It was Reunion. And that was like me pointing at the screen constantly. I was like, oh my gosh, oh, that's that, and this is this, and all these new
Yeah.
characters that I had no idea were
I
a
did
part
the
of the
same with
narrative
PSP
before.
version.
Yeah,
I can only imagine how good it looks now. I didn't play
it looks
Reunion,
gorgeous. Yeah, it was like it was almost feeling like a sneak peek into these places, like what they will look like in Rebirth and beyond. So yeah. I don't know. I always get like so like giggly when I think about that because these games are so special, and this feeling of nostalgia is like universal, regardless of what I said before. When you play it when you're younger or when you're older, if you played it a week ago, it's like this game is timeless, and the replayability.
magical.
Yeah, the replayability
good.
of every single one of these games, and I have no doubt I will be replaying Rebirth like
Yeah.
multiple times.
And now we can play both back to back too. Remake and Rebirth.
Exactly.
So that's
gonna
and
be
I know a
so
lot of people
exciting.
game.
That's
It's huge.
it's made me so happy. I've been seeing so many people streaming Remake. People that I wouldn't even expect to pick up Remake.
Getting prepared.
Simply because they've seen the Rebirth trailers and they've wanted in on this experience that other people are having. And I love that about games. It's just like my thing is like I want to play games specifically to understand people better. And I know 7 was a lot of my friends' favorites, and I wanted to have something to talk to about, like, them.
That's
They're
the
like
best
a little bit
feeling.
older than me. Like, it was their first game, and I was like, oh, I want to talk about that too, you know?
Talking
I'm
about
a
games
slow guy,
is the
but,
basis
yeah.
of all my friendships.
Yes. Yeah.
Every
Same.
single one.
Same.
Yeah,
getting better
I didn't, growing up playing games, it was very uncool. And I didn't have friends to talk about. I kept it to myself. I didn't have friends to talk about Final Fantasy with. I would turn to forums and stuff. And kind of eventually that's how I became a streamer.
Yeah. I think we have very similar backstories,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, because you can't, it was hard to talk about that. And now we just get to be full on nerds and meet other people that are also nerds. It's just the best. Oh, God, I love games. I love storytelling.
It is the
It's
best.
a good time to be a nerd right now.
Yeah.
It is.
Especially a
Indeed.
Final Fantasy nerd.
Yeah.
What was the question from your chat, Finny?
Sure, yeah. I have a question. Someone asked, does everyone love Sid Highwind here?
Yes, I do now. After this
Ask
call.
me in 2 weeks. Ask me in 2 weeks.
I'm asking you now, girly.
I was different. At first, I thought he was really hot when I played OG7, and I was like, I compared to Legos. I guess he's like pretty attractive. And then I got his portrait, and I was like, never mind. He's chewing a cigarette. Like, just kidding. No, and
That's what's so
that was
beautiful
seriously- I
in
was
Rebirth. Like he looks age appropriate, you know. He looks his age, and he looks very handsome and
gonna
intelligent and wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, I'm very excited to see the dynamic that he brings to the group
Same.
because he is older, and
Yes.
this group is young. Besides Barrett, but like Sid is like older. Well, and then okay, Vincent's kind of a whole thing, but it's fine. I don't know. I do wonder. Again, going back to the team attacks and things, who is Sid gonna have a team attack with? I need to know. Who's he gonna?
Only Vincent.
like Vincent. We'll have to find out in the third game.
Two recruitable.
Yeah, part 3. It's
part
Sid
3.
and Vincent game.
Sid and Vincent game. That's all it is.
But for now, it'd be fun to see like their banter. It's gonna be fun to see, the
Yeah.
32-year-old interact with the 16-year-old Yuffie. That
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see their dynamic. Is he going to be
Same.
fatherly? Does he even know how to be fatherly? I have questions.
What are you trying to say about him?
I don't
He's a very loving man. I don't know what you're getting at here.
know. He's got some. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll get into it another day. Part 3. Part 3. We'll get into it.
I have a question that maybe, well, we might have more questions. I was going to say this could be a fun, like, last question, or we can do more.
Yeah.
How many hours do you all think it'll take before you'll cry for the first time in Rebirth?
Probably 30 minutes.
One
It's going to be
second.
the menu music.
One
the menu
Honestly, yeah.
I'm booting up that game and I'm immediately
menu,
starting
the
crying.
The menu
I
music will.
yeah.
Oh.
The menu.
The menu.
I think the menu.
The demo already made me tear up. So
Oh.
I'm a lost cause. And I don't cry easily, but this is a very nostalgic, very personal, very childlike
Yeah.
Yeah.
moment for me.
Yeah. I think there's something
So-
really, to be said about that. Like the idea that this series can provoke emotions from anywhere, like whether that's based on nostalgia or the fact that you're just so excited to play a game like this that you've been probably imagine waiting for this game since playing the OG and imagining what would they look like in amazing graphics and like not squares. It's
I can almost cry thinking about that.
yeah,
Stop it.
right? Yeah, no,
How far
it's
it's
okay. 2 weeks. It's only 2 weeks. It's fine. But yeah, it's just it's just it brings together so many different people, and that's something I'll always be really grateful for with games, and especially the series. It's always been like at the heart of a lot of like my community and with my friends and online. It's just it's gonna be a very, very special game when it comes out in 2 weeks.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Well, I would give a question from my chat, but they were all smoking to imitate Sid Highwind. So
Oh, and I just want to say
Girlfriend
you have
smoking
something
emote.
to look forward to before Rebirth even comes out. There's something amazing to celebrate. 7 related. Sid Highwind's birthday is February 22nd, the week before it comes out. So what a great way to
Wait, and
celebrate.
also-
I actually will. I'm having a special stream for it. I do it every
get a
year. What are you
cake?
talking about? I should. I didn't think about that. We are having a party. You're all invited.
But it's also
Get hype about Rebirth together.
on the 22nd is also when they're extending the demo. So if you all want to give that a
You
try.
can
Oh,
Right.
they did that for his birthday.
They did that for
is
his
so
birthday.
kind.
Happy birthday, Sid Highwind.
Oh my God, Square.
Sid Game of the Year Highwind.
There you go.
Oh my God.
So,
Woo. Trust me.
all right.
Check
Well,
out that
you know what you'll be
demo.
doing
yeah.
on 22nd.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great.
I had so
Thanks
much
for
fun.
Yeah, this was
talking
wonderful.
and yapping about Final Fantasy VII. That was so much fun. And
Yeah,
thank you
big
again,
thank you to
Enix,
Square.
for sponsoring.
Yeah, thank you
for
so much,
having
Square
us.
Enix. Thank you.
You're the best.
Please,
so much fun.
please
Can't wait for you to hug
use
me.
exclamation point.
You to hurt me.
Oh.
Oh yeah. We all have
Exclamation point, no.
Exclamation!
Exclamation point.
Yeah, we have links in our chats. You can learn more about the game, pre-order
Yeah.
it today. Check it out, and yeah, get ready for February 29th. I know I will be. I'll be streaming it. I'll be
I'm
ready.
not ready.
Are y'all
but I'm
gonna be
ready.
playing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not ready, but you have to be. There's no choice.
PS5, and that'll
Yeah, I might want to do that.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
Judgment. Okay, I'm
See
going
the
today.
the
we can all
commitment to
collect-
7. You want to get a PS5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I gotta get a PS5 right now.
Thank you so much
Hey.
for being here, everyone. We appreciate it so much, and we hope you're as excited as us for the release of Rebirth on February 29th. It's going to be a very exciting time. Can't wait to share the game with you. I'm sure we all are very excited. And yeah,
That's all.
we shall see you whenever we are next live. Okay. Thank you so much, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you, chat.
Bye, y'all.
Y'all were the
Join the Sid Highway fan club. Thank you.
Do that.
Yes. Got that in.